awfully awesome video game.
Welcome to Game Writing 101. I'm going to use this video to talk about who I am, because I'm the instructor of this online course. You can see my name there, Ed Cannell. Cannell, I'll accept anything close is fine. It's not that big a deal. As usual, I'll be looking at my notes because I'm not rehearsing or memorizing. This is just kind of a grassroots approach to this course. So in the other video, I talked about what the course is and what the course isn't. This is going to be a very simple, hands-on process, not the end-all, be-all narrative design, but something to get you started if you don't know where to start and don't know how to start. I'm 50 years old, married to a wonderful woman, Andrea. I've got 2 kids. One is a freshman in college. One is a junior in high school. 2 boys that I love. I got a dog I'm sure you'll hear at some point. I live in Southwest Portland, and I have been here, well, for most of my life. Other than that, what are my qualifications? I have, taken classes at community colleges and like other places. I've even taught a little bit at like community college, and I get it, what you're thinking. There's always that moment where you go to the class for the first time, you don't know what the teacher looks like, and you see somebody who might be the teacher, but you kind of hope not. You just kind of hope maybe that he's just like the old guy that signed up for this class because he was bored, and hopefully he doesn't talk endlessly and ask a million questions. He might be nice enough, but oh boy. Or maybe he's hopefully part of the maintenance staff. He's got a wrestling t-shirt on. I get it. You're in good hands. Okay, I entered the game industry, I'll remember it was January 2nd, 2001. So I was super excited. It was the first day of the first business day of the year. And I spent the first 5 years at a place called High Voltage Software out in the burbs of Chicago, a place that's still there, still making games. And I spent 5 years there where I learned a ton, including some of the stuff that I'll teach in this course. I left there and slowly but surely started to freelance as a contract narrative designer, game writer type. And so I would say I spent, I guess, 22 years in the game industry with a small break there between when I left High Voltage Software and really started freelancing in earnest. But I worked on 82 games, and I'll have some links and stuff to what I've worked on so you can see what you're getting into. I'm no Neil Druckmann, but if you're coming at this fresh, I can teach you something until you can work with a Neil Druckmann. I'll get you on the path there. Let's see. Oh, I want to talk about why I'm doing this. So I knew from an early age that I really wanted to work in games, but I wasn't going to be an artist or a programmer. But some of my favorite games, I grew up in Portland, Oregon. I was a little kid in the 70s, and then in the 80s, I kind of grew up, and I graduated high school at the end of the decade, 1990. I graduated high school. And I was really fascinated by the early text adventures, if you know what those are. I mean, these games that didn't have graphics. They would sort of give you a bit of story, and then you could make some choices, on to move through the door or go north or go south, pick up an item. You had an inventory. Text adventures, interactive adventures, and later they got graphics, King's Quest, Monkey Island. I loved those early games. And I knew that's what I wanted to do. But I had no clue how to go about it. None. Portland in the 70s and the 80s was not this hip, cool town we saw. You might have seen on like Portlandia or something. It was pretty small. It had no game development scene. It didn't have schools that were, at all into that or into, the entertainment. It doesn't really have much of a game industry scene now. It's got a small one, I think. But so I really just spent 10 years flailing around, just not having a clue. There's a lot of other stuff going on with me, but a big part of it was not a clue where to start. I eventually figured it out. I eventually, I want to say, late 20s, I think that checks out, when finally, cracked the code and got in. But I wasted maybe 10 years, just not knowing where to start. So maybe if I can kind of help you, I can help you acquire some rudimentary skills at narrative design, like, again, a hands-on approach. And I can help you use that approach to build a small portfolio. And outside of this course, I'm going to make some videos on how I think you can break in to the game industry, just with what you know here. Maybe I'll save you a lot of time, right? Plus, I get lots of emails and stuff and messages about, how do I break in, Mr. Cannell? Gosh, you're so amazing. How do I be just like you? How do I break? Okay, that's a lie. That never happens. I get like a couple people a year reach out to me, maybe more, saying, "Hey, how do I get to be a game designer? How can I break in as a narrative designer?" It's a pretty big question, right? And I'm always happy to help people, but I figure, having this videos here, I could just blow you off, send you to this YouTube channel, and I won't do that. When we're done with this course, we can hook up on LinkedIn. We can stay in touch. I'd love to hear from you. I'm just joking. All right, I think that covers it. I don't know. One last thing. As a reward, if you stick this out, if you watch all these videos, and more importantly, you do the work along with me, you do the homework that I'm going to assign, here's your reward. We're going to talk about how professional wrestling is the greatest storytelling medium in the history of civilization. And I'll prove it to you. That's right, I'll prove it to you. On the channel, I'll prove it to you. So you have that to look forward to. But yeah, in the spirit, again, this channel is about let's go, let's do it, let's go. So that's enough about me. If you want to know anything more, just let me know, and let's go on. Let's move on.